Hey everyone, I am Gary of the Elysiums. Welcome to a different type of video than usual. Today I'm going to be talking about the 200 greatest prog rock albums according to this magazine here, which is from the makers of Uncut magazine, a regular magazine from the United Kingdom. But before we get into this video, do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, all that cool stuff. And just to let you know that if you plan on getting this magazine or you plan on reading it, there are going to be some spoilers. So today is Thursday, and the week's almost come to an end. But it's a very special Thursday because it's the opening of NFL football tonight here with my Super Bowl defending Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And we also have the Phillies on in a few minutes. So I figured I'd squeeze this video in before I had a great afternoon/night of sports. Anyway, I did some years back do a video on, I think it was my 30 greatest prog rock albums, according to me, obviously. And I feel like since then, my preferences have kind of changed, and I've heard some more albums, maybe gotten some newer bands, not newer bands, but newer to me, of prog rock. So I was thinking about remaking that video. Maybe I'll change it to top 50. But anyway, back to this magazine. Basically a review of what I'm doing here. So these magazines have been out recently, and you can really find them at Barnes & Noble. Super cool what they're doing. So they've done a greatest albums, of 500 greatest albums of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. All separate issues. They did I believe it was 200 greatest albums of the 50s, and they did 50 greatest, was it 50? Or it could have been 200. 200 greatest goth rock albums. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is their newest edition, 200 greatest progressive rock albums. And the cool thing about these magazines is, they're kind of like a book. This costs $18.50 here in the States. £9.99, if that's how you say it in the UK. Sorry if I'm ignorant to that. I'm not really sure how I know it's currency, but I'm not sure how the phrasing on that would be. But the cool thing about this is they're always, at least for the past year, maybe year and a half, they're always on the newsstands. They keep, when they go away, they come back. They put them back on. They're reprinting them, which I think is super cool. Because a lot of these magazines, to get the back issues, you got to set away for them. They're expensive, especially with shipping coming from Great Britain. And, I guess over in Europe, they still do magazines really well because all our US-based music magazines are pretty much gone, but the UK has held strong, and they're still putting stuff out like this. And I don't mind. I know $18.99 is expensive for or $18.50 is expensive for a magazine, but this is like a book. Like, I'm gonna have this for life. I'm never gonna get rid of this. This is something really cool, and I love seeing greatest this, greatest that in a magazine. I pick up almost everyone I see that says greatest this and that. So very happy to see this. And the cool thing about this is, a lot of magazines show a lot of ads. There's like almost zero ads in this. There's an ad on the back with some of the other magazines, but it's basically just telling you about this. Super cool photos inside. But let's get into it, because after reading this magazine, I've been able to get into some new prog rock albums, and I've learned of some new albums that I didn't really know before. But also, I disagree with a lot of it. Now, I know this is coming from a different continent than I'm on, and I know that there's bands and artists that are bigger in Europe than there are here, and vice versa. So I did go into this with an open mind, as I did with all these magazines, but I feel like some of these prog rock albums in here are just ranked too low. So we're going to start, actually. I'm going to show you what number one is. Like I said, there's going to be spoilers. So if you're wondering, And the cool thing is, there is, you know what? Let me save this till after I show you number one. There's articles on like the albums that were reprinted from a past Uncut magazine and new articles. So number one is King Crimson, Court of the Crimson King. You know, no argument there. I don't know if I'd put it number one in my opinion. It's definitely top three, so I can't argue with that. But you know, there's an article on the album, some more pictures, but then we have you know, an interview with Robert Fripp, which is super cool. And coming in at number two, which again, top 10, maybe top 5 for me. I don't know if I'd put it number 2. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis. For me, I would put I prefer Foxtrot, Selling England by the Pound, and even Nursery Crime. I prefer those 3 albums by Genesis over this one. It's a fantastic album, great double album. To me, it's a little too long. If it was a little shorter, I would like it, but I get the two. It's the whole concept. Anyway, so there is a 2014 article on here. This one's from Tony Banks, describing that. And then coming at number 3, Close to the Edge by Yes. I don't know. For me, this may be number 1. That's just my opinion. Just the perfect prog rock album, in my opinion. This one kind of shocked me because I wasn't really familiar with it. I didn't put the two together right away. So Robert Wyatt's Rock Bottom is ranked at number 4. Never heard this album before I read this magazine. I listened to the album and it's absolutely fantastic. Would I put it at 4? No. Could that change? Absolutely, because I would have to spend more time listening to it. Robert Wyatt was the former drummer of Soft Machine. He actually became a paraplegic. I don't really know what happened to him, the accident or not. I guess I should have looked that up. But he has an amazing voice, and you know, he's playing keyboards on this, and it's a great album, awesome album. It actually didn't chart in the UK, but it went to number 13 in the US, and it was actually produced by Nick Mason, the drummer from Pink Floyd. So if you've never heard of this album, check it out. Now I have to find it on CD. Hopefully it's easy to find. I already know it's not going to be, but number 5, Foxtrot by Genesis. No argument there. The only thing is, like I'd say, I prefer this over Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Lark's Tongues and Aspic is number 6. Can't argue with that. Another great album from King Crimson. You know, it's right up there with In the Court of the Crimson King. My second favorite album besides In the Court of the Crimson King from King Crimson is Red. So I would have Red higher. Caravan, I absolutely love this album. In the Land of Grey and Pink. And again, there's some cool pictures of the band, which these are bands that you rarely see what they look like, and you know, just a cool article. And you know, where else are you going to read about Caravan in 2025? So I think that's super cool. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, number 8. I mean, it's the, you know, one of the greatest selling albums of all time, one of the greatest albums of all time, one of the most iconic albums of all time, if not the most iconic album of all time. When I did my ranking on prog rock albums, I put this at number 1. I feel like the commercial success behind this album kind of overshadows the fact that it's still a prog rock album. And, you know, Pink Floyd is a prog band, but, you know, they're lumped in with, you know, a hard rock band too, even though they don't really play hard rock. Hard rock fans and metalheads love the band. You know, Roger Waters has been in the news as of lately, kind of criticizing the late Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. And, you know, I was never a huge fan of Roger Waters. Is he a great writer? Yes. I think he just says a lot of stupid things. I think he should just, you know, not that I'm telling him to, but I think he should just keep his mouth shut. Not that he's going to watch this or listen to my opinion, you know, and kind of just stick to his legacy. Yeah, I mean, for me, Pink Floyd is Syd Barrett and David Gilmour. You know, I know that Roger has written so much material, but I love David Gilmour, one of my favorite guitarists of all time. I love the early stuff with Syd Barrett. And then mixing Richard Wright's vocals with David Gilmour's vocals are just incredible. Roger Woodard's not much of a singer to me. The Final Cut, which is basically a Roger Woodard solo album in all but name, I can't get into it no matter how many times I listen to it. The favorite song on there is Not Now John, which is the song that was sung by David. Anyway, I just think it's a really bad taste of what he said. So this one's cool. So right before we get to this, we have a interview and an article on Van der Graaf Generator, and we have a little discussion, little article on each album, each studio album in their discography, and their live album, which is super cool. Again, we're only going to read about Van der Graaf Generator in 2015. They got God Bluff at number 9. Again, no argument there. My favorite album from Van der Graaf. Number 10 is the Yes album. This I have a problem with. The fact that you rank the Yes album higher than Fragile doesn't really sit well with me. Fragile is definitely in the top 10 in my opinion. 11 is Metal by Pink Floyd. Yeah, not an album you really hear much when you talk about prog rock, but just the song Echoes itself, I mean, it's as proggy as you can get. So I'm not going to show you every single album here, just going through and kind of getting my thoughts. I mean, 2008 article with Kevin Ayers from Soft Machine. Again, you get some articles on the Soft Machine album. Kevin Ayers solo. Kevin Ayers, I don't know this. Whatever She Brings, We Sing. I don't know this album at all, so I can't really speak on it. It's ranked at number 12, so I think I do have to listen to it. Aqualung at 13. Not the Jethro Tull album I would pick to be the highest. I'd probably put Thick as a Brick higher than that. Then we had the Mahavishnu Orchestra, with John McLaughlin. The Intermounting Flame. More of a jazz fusion, in my opinion. Not straight prog, but it gets a pass. I get it. It's definitely prog rock. I don't know this album by Gong. Camembert Electrique. Camembert Electrique. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. So this is one I gotta check out. Soft Machine third. Great album. They went from a psychedelic band to still some psychedelia on here, but just straight up prog. Love that album. We get a cool interview with Rick Wakeman, Steve Howe, and John Anderson of Yes. Then at number 17, we have Fragile. It's just ranked way too low, in my opinion. Yes, Fragile is definitely a top 10 prog rock album, in my opinion. Just absolutely incredible. Selling England by the Pound at 18. Might make my top 10. But it's top 20 here, which can't argue with. ELP's debut is the highest rank from their discography. Great album. I would probably put Brain Salad Surgery above this, and even Tarkus. I like Tarkus more than this. As far as a prog rock album. At 20, we have Mike Oldfield with Tubular Bells. I mean, does this really belong in prog rock? I don't know. I mean, is it prog? Yes, but I don't know. I don't know. I just never really considered this a prog rock album. Great album. Great album. And then, again, there's articles on this. As you can see, some great albums on there. There's Red by King Crimson, Octopus by Gentle Giant, Fish Out of Water by Chris Squire. You got Relayer there. Cool to see that. Then you get the solo stuff like Steve Hillich with Fish Rising, which is a great album. Great solo album from him. Robert Wyatt, Truth is Stranger Than Richard. Thick as a Brick at number 35. That is super low in my opinion. Van der Graaf with Pawn Hearts is in there. Another Caravan album. If I could do it all over again, I'd do it all over you. So yeah, I mean, I live for stuff like this. I absolutely love it. But here we go. We got Nursery Crime at 44. Way too low in my opinion. And then we have Pictures at an Exhibition from ELP. That's kind of the second ranked from their discography. Procol Harum's debut. I don't know if that's the one I'd pick to be the highest from Procol Harum in this. Oh, here we go. This is cool. So here are the other magazines I was talking about at the top of the show. As you can see, oh, they did 500 albums of the 50s. I didn't realize they did 500. But there you can see, and I didn't know about this one either, the 500 albums of 2010 till now, but I think I did buy this because I remember it now with David Bowie on it. There's the goth, and then there's the hard rock. I forgot to mention that one. Greatest hard rock and heavy metal albums at 200. If you get this one, which is super cool, but don't expect a lot of stuff. It's mostly 70s in this 200. Don't expect anything newer. There is some 80s, there is some newer stuff, but it's very heavy on the 70s. But I mean, Focus, Moving Waves, what's that? That's at 59. That would be much higher for me. Mirage would be much higher. There's the Mahavishnu Orchestra again. Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. Yeah, I guess that's the one I would rank from them from the highest. And Awake of Poseidon from King Crimson at number 66. What else? Spooky Tooth 2. Spooky 2. I don't know if I would really put that in there. To me, they're just more of a blues rock, hard rock band. Choir and a Taste from Gentle Giant, another great album. So cool for that. Soft Machine Bundles. Amazing album. That should be higher in my opinion. Stand Up from Jethro Tull's at 99. We got some more Caravan with Waterloo Lily. And also For Girls Who Grow Plump in the Night. Deep Purple. The Book of Taliesin at 88. No. I wouldn't call that prog rock at all. I mean, does it have prog rock influence? Yes, a touch, but Trick the Tail from Genesis at 94 should be much higher. Definitely top 25 for me. Peter Gabriel's first album, Car. King Crimson Lizard. Alan Parsons Project with iRobot at 85. A little higher in my opinion. Here we have Brain Cell Surgery at 120. Minstrel in a Gallery at 119. Genesis Live at 118. There's other Genesis albums that you could put before that. Starless and Bible Black, great album. Wind and Wuthering. I said I wasn't going to show you everything, but here we go. Then we have Scratch from Peter Gabriel's in this. Soft Machine's debut. Fuzzy Duck's debut, which is a great album. Soft Machine 2. Duke from Genesis. I like it, but when I'm doing a top 200 of prog rock, I don't know if I'd really include that. Yeah, it's probably the last glimmer of prog from Genesis, but it's more like 80s pop to me. Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. No, I wouldn't put that in there. World Record from Vandergraaf Generator at 155. I'd put that higher. Yes's debut, I don't think I would include here because I don't think they were fully prog yet. Power and Glory from Gentle Giant, another great album. I love Gentle Giant. They're such a good band. War Child from Jethro Tull. Again, I don't know if I'd put this. You know, there's so many more albums from Jethro Tull that I would put in here before those. Songs from the Wood at 165. I don't know. That's pretty low. Trespass from Genesis. I mean, for the night, just for the knife alone, I think that should be higher. And I'm not going to show you everything because if you want to go out and get this magazine, I know I already spoiled it, but why not? Then we have a another interview with Ian Anderson, and basically that's it. There's an introduction to the top 200 albums. Keith Everson there, cool picture of him, nice action shot, and then it also starts with an interview article in 2018 with Robert Wyatt. So it's weird with these. I go back and read the interviews after I read the rankings, and there's so much more music out there, and I know a lot of music, and there's just so much more. That there's other cool articles in here like the 20 most collectible prog rock albums. Then we have Tales of Topographic Notions. 25 Tropes of the Golden Age Prog Rock Experience. And last here we have Keith Emerson, basically just showing you his favorite albums. And what's cool about this, I will say, is Tales from Topographic Oceans is ranked. I like this album a lot. Great double album. I feel like it gets too much hate. It's a really good album, and I love seeing it in there. And as soon as you open it, there's a little article on it, right there. You know, and a little, little talking about Roger Dean, who the great artist behind, you know, Yes's albums, and just so much more in this magazine. It's super cool. So I hope I inspired a lot of you to go out and grab it. It's definitely worth it. Like I said, $18.50 is not the cheapest price for a magazine, but you know, what are you spending on a meal when you go out to dinner, or what are you spending at the liquor store? You know, you're getting you can't even get 2 6-packs for $18, unless you're drinking cheaper beer. You can, but anyway, pick this up. This is my thoughts on it. You know, I do think that a lot of albums were ranked very low. You know, for me, the big four of prog rock are Genesis, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull, Yes, and King Crimson. That's 5. So the big 5 of prog rock. But then we have Gentle Giant, the 6th, even Peter Gabriel's solo, Van der Graaf Generator. There's just so much out there. So pick this up, check it out, and you know, you'll get into some albums that you haven't heard before, by artists you probably know. All right, everyone. Thank you for paying attention while I bored you with my prog rock nerdiness. And yeah, I'm going to turn on these sports games now. So I want to thank everyone again for watching. And if you didn't already, please hit that subscribe button. Take care.